So I'm getting a lot of like emails asking for demonstration on the latest exercise. So what we're dealing with is the magazine spread, and what I'm going to do is actually feed you through because I know it's like a little bit of a confusing wording that I put in there. So apologies about that. So this is how I would actually get it started and how I would actually go about doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm in InDesign right now, and I'm going to go ahead and hit Create New, and I'm going to wait for it to pop up. Any day now. Okay, here we go. All right, so what I would do is pretty much I would change my units to inches, and I would actually, I know I said it's a 11 by 17 or a 17 by 11 with two 8.5 by 11 pages. So that's where it gets a little bit confusing because in all reality, what it is like if you have any kind of magazine or booklet or whatever, the actual sheet that it's printed on is 17 by 11, which actually, if you add up 8.5 by 11, it turns out to be 17 by 11. So it essentially is two 8.5 by 11 sheets. So this is how I would set it up. So I'm going to set up the width to be 17 because we want it to go wide. The height is going to be 11 because that is how high most pages in a magazine are. I'm going to turn facing pages off, and then I'm going to hit Create. Now, what you can do is, as far as how do you set up with two 8.5 by 11 sheets, all it is drawing a guideline between them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my ruler here, and if I click and hold drag from that ruler, you'll see that I'm going to pull out a guide. And you'll see at the very top, I have another ruler, which I'm going to line up 8.5 by, or 8.5. I'm going to put that there. That essentially represents my fold line in my magazine spread. So you can kind of see that here, this is where I would where the fold line is. General rule of design is you do not want to have important information crossing a fold line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I would lay this out quickly. So I like wolves, so I've already downloaded a few images or a couple of images that I'm going to use, and I'm going to import some text. So I'm going to go up to File, Place, then I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to go to wherever I saw my, wait, that was under downloads, my bad. All right, so I'm going to go here, I'm going to find that, hit open, and I'm going to go ahead and hit click hold drag. If you remember from my images lecture, you'll notice that I did mention that. It's like you want to click hold drag in order to position it. If I would have just clicked, it would have put it at full size. So I want this image to be a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna hold down my Shift and Control on a PC, Shift Command on a Mac, and I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. Now I do want the wolves to all be on one page, so I'm gonna do that. Or perhaps maybe I just increase it to the full size and just bring this up. All right, so I can bring this up here, crop it. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and put in my title for my article, which I'm just going to go say, Dancing with Wolves. Great movie with Kevin Costner, except that was dances. This is dancing. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in some kind of text here. Make it bigger. And I'm going to bring this up into there. And I'm going to highlight that. And I'm going to make this color white for it. All right. So some of you made the comment to me about the possibility of the images just look awful. I mean, it looks really, really pixelated. And that is InDesign's preview option, right? What it does is it previews a low res. That's how it can actually maintain having a lot of pages within a design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on the image just for the satisfaction of having things in high res. I'm going to right click on it and hit display performance as high quality. That way I can kind of like see what it's there. And I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick. All right, so to give some kind of contrast to this wording here, I'm going to add in a black box. Now this is something I probably didn't show in my lecture, so this is kind of a little bit of a treat here for you. I'm going to make it black. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my box. I'm going to go up to Object, Effects, and I'm going to choose Gradient Feather. And in here, this dialog box comes up, and I have that. I'm going to bring the black over farther to the white so I can have a much more of a drop off. And then I'm going to change the angle to about 90 degrees there. Yeah, much more smoother backdrop. And I'll hit OK. Well, not yet. All right. I'm going to click on transparency up here at the top of this box, and I'm going to hit multiply. Tends to take out any kind of white, so you see it kind of got a little bit darker. And I'm going to change the opacity down some. And hit OK. I'm going to select both boxes just by using my cursor, click, hold, and drag to make a box kind of around the two objects that I do want to select, which is not going to be the title. And I'm going to go over Object, Arrange, Send to Back. So now it looks like it pops out a little bit more without kind of like giving that impression of it being darker at the bottom. All right, the next thing is I'm going to add in some text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of different things here. So obviously I'm going to have some kind of body of text here. I'm going to go up to type, and I'm going to basically put in some placeholder text, which is here. Placeholder text. Select all that, and I'm going to choose some kind of font that I want. I've been liking Evanier Next. That's kind of been my favorite one lately. So I'm going to choose regular there. I'm going to keep it at about 12 for this. All right, so I'm going to delete the rest of this now. Obviously, if it was an article, I wouldn't want to delete this, but I do want to actually make it a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to take my text tool. I'm going to draw another text box about the same width there. And I'm also going to fill that with placeholder text. Select all that. I'm going to go to Evanier Next again. I'm going to go regular. This time I'm going to bring it down to 10. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click it. I'm going to go to my text frame options. And I'm going to choose the number as far as where it says column. I'm going to choose the number to be 2. Hit OK. That gives me a 2-column like option here. All right, so I'm going to kind of move this up a little bit. All right, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go here and I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste. That way I can kind of keep the same dimensions here. Bring that over here. I'm going to expand this and delete that. But what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go over here and hit this white box. That's gonna allow me to connect these two. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go here and I'm going to do the insert placeholder text again. All right. So what that does is it allows me to kind of like give, I'm going to put another picture in here. Make something like that. All right, so what we're doing essentially is kind of like looking at the whole layout and coming up with a design that kind of like fits within that. So it's like if I said 17 by 11 and using two 8.5 by 11 panels, or pages. This is what I meant. All right. So when you create a magazine spread, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about tying all this stuff together, importing in graphics, creating titles, stuff like that, to create something interesting. So as I said before, it's like when you're dealing with a fold line, you do not want to actually cross the fold line. Right? You notice that Wolves was kind of like crossing that a little bit. So what I did is I made this bigger, so the space in between Width and Wolves is a gap between the fold lines. All right, so nothing important, no articles spanning over the fold line. We're talking about 2 panels here is what we're talking about. So, all right, and to make things easier, we'll go up to, obviously save it, but I would go to File, Export. All right, when you export, you're going to export it as a PDF. Just like, choose Adobe PDF Print and export it out that way. All right, it doesn't matter what thing you use. Just that's what I want. I do not want an InDesign file when you upload it. So, all right, hopefully that clears some of that up for you guys, and I'll see you at the next one.